Alright, hi! Welcome to my channel. I'm Casey, and today we're doing a reading all about how do you feel about your person. Now, normally people, I feel like, just look up, like, how do they feel about me? Like, what do they want? But I feel like so many people think they know how they really feel about their person, when in reality there's some sort of like underlying thing that makes them obsess over this person, obsess over the situation, and usually it's aspects of ourselves that we don't really want to address, that we don't really want to say are actually there. And so today we're just getting an honest look about how do you actually feel about this person? Because I feel like that's so much more important, when it comes to relationships, knowing like, what do I actually get from this person? Why do I care so much? How do I feel about them? And in knowing that, it might help you understand your situation, understand your person and yourself a little bit better. So today I have 4 piles for you. Take a moment to figure out which one you feel most drawn to. I'm going to leave timestamps in the description below so you can quickly jump to whichever one, whichever reading you want to listen to. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. Alright, pile 1, welcome to your reading. If you chose the butterfly card, then this is going to be the pile for you. And before we get into it, I'm going to tell you quickly how we're going to actually do this reading. I'm going to start off by using the Animal Spirit deck, which is this oracle deck right here. And we're going to be getting a card for how you see yourself versus how you see your person. Like kind of role in the situation, role in the relationship, how you're viewing yourself and them in this current relationship at this time. Of course, this reading is timeless, so it's for whenever you find it, not necessarily when I'm filming it. And then after that, we're going to be getting out the Prism Oracle deck, and we're going to be looking at how the situation is going from your point of view and their point of view. Not how it's going from like an objective standpoint, but how do you both feel about your relationship at this time? How do you feel about, your situation right now? Your point of view versus their point of view, because sometimes you guys can have really differing ideas of what you think is going on in the relationship right now. And then finally, we're going to be getting out the tarot, and we're just going to see how do you honestly feel about them right now. Not how you think you feel about them, not what confusing sort of emotions come up, but honestly, like if you were speaking from your highest self, how do you feel about this person right now? So without further ado, thank you if you listened to that whole explanation, but we're going to go ahead and get into it. I'm going to get out the cards, and we'll be right back. Alright. Pile 1. Here are the cards that I got for you. This one, the peacock, is going to be you, and how you view yourself, and the wolf is kind of how you view your person, or your person at this current time. And just starting off, like when I first got the butterfly card, the first thing that I thought of were tattoos. Specifically, I feel like either you or your person, most likely your person, has a tattoo of a butterfly somewhere on their body, but also I'm just kind of getting the vibe in general, like I feel like either one or both of you really loves tattoos and might even be covered in tattoos, or might have like the vibe of somebody that like wears a lot of tattoos. Like they almost wear confidence and like coolness on their skin, if that even makes sense. Like they just seem confident, cool kind of energy. And with the peacock, I feel like you specifically are definitely a very attractive, confident person. I'm definitely getting like divine feminine, where if you look at the Empress card, it's like this woman lounging and people just come to her. She like has this inner glow that attracts people to her. Not necessarily that you are a woman, but I'm getting divine feminine energy here, which if you don't know, divine feminine, divine masculine doesn't actually have to do with gender. It's more an archetype like yin and yang. So if you're confused about that, I urge you to look it up, but trust me, it has nothing to do with gender. It's more of like an archetype. But I feel like in this relationship, you are more embodying the divine feminine versus your person is embodying the divine masculine. And also, another thing that I was kind of thinking of is I feel like your person might be in a band. I don't know why I'm getting like punk rock, like rides a motorcycle, has tattoos kind of vibe, but I feel like your person is definitely like, this is gonna sound so stupid, but you know how people are like alpha wolf, like total sigma vibes? Like I feel like that's kind of the vibe that your person gives off. Not in like a weird douchey kind of way, but like they just seem kind of cool, kind of alpha, a little on their own. They're definitely presenting as the wolf, which is like it's earth energy, which makes me think grounded, very much like within their own energy, not kind of like drawn to too many people, which makes you guys kind of like an unlikely fit, because I feel like people are so drawn to you, and you might like be putting like on a show almost for them, like doing your makeup, dressing really fancy, trying your best to attract them. But the wolf is kind of someone who observes from afar. They're not really the type to just like suddenly skip town and go chase after something. They're very much within their own energy. And when I picture your person, I don't know why I'm picturing them wearing like a leather jacket, riding a motorcycle, like has a bunch of tattoos. And I feel like lots of people are attracted to your person, but they kind of just like seem really uninterested. Like, I don't know why I'm thinking of Edward from Twilight, which, like, no offense, but low key, that man is kind of a loser. No offense if you're a big Twilight fan, but like, it's kind of like the vibe of that kind of mysterious, cool guy that all the girls are into, but they kind of just have their eye on one person, and they seem really reserved, laid back. They don't talk a lot, but like, if you know the Twilight movies, Edward is like always staring at Bella. He's always in love with her. He's like transfixed and obsessed, but it doesn't seem like that from the outside because he doesn't talk a lot. He doesn't do a lot. He's almost brooding in just this quiet, kind of mysterious energy. And that's what I get from your person. I feel like you're definitely the type of person that likes to dress up. I don't think necessarily flamboyant, but with lots of colors, there's definitely a flair to the way that you dress. Like, you love to catch attention of people, and you love to attract. And I feel like the both of you have a really passionate energy linking the two of you. There's definitely a lot of, not longing in a romantic sense, but almost like this fiery like link between the two of you that you can both feel. It's almost like the energy before a storm, and like I'm almost imagining like these two having like a face off and staring at each other, and nobody's really moving or saying anything, but there's almost this like static electricity in the air, if you know what I'm saying. I'm not gonna get too 18 plus into this because I don't know who's watching, but definitely on the sexual side, there's a lot of passion to be had between the two of you. But with the butterfly, this card is all about metamorphosis and change. And I feel like the both of you obviously have this transfixed kind of obsession focusing in on each other. There's lots of passion to be had, but I feel like circumstances recently may have changed that might almost be making one or both of you kind of scared as to where it's going, because I feel like, oops, sorry, I just hit my desk. I feel like both of you, or neither of you, are really expecting a relationship. I don't think either of you are the relationship type for some reason. I'm getting very much like you like to have fun and they're not really interested in those kinds of commitments, but you feel this energy between the two of you. I'm almost getting like divine counterpart because of how strong it feels. And because of that, all of a sudden there's like this energy of them not wanting to commit and you also being like, I didn't get into this for like some sort of relationship, like what's going on? And so I feel like your guys' relationship is kind of going through a metamorphosis, kind of going through a change of some type with the butterfly card. And both of you are unsure where you want it to go or where it is going. But there's definitely a lot of passion here between the two of you. So I'm gonna go ahead and just slide these cards up and out of the way for now so you can still see them. And then we're going to get out the Prism Oracle deck and just see, I don't even know what I said next, but whatever. I'll get out the cards and we'll be right back. All right, pile one, I'm back. And okay, we were using the Prism Oracle deck to see how you view the situation versus how your person is viewing the situation. So like relationship, situationship, how each of you have, what's your separate point of views of the same situation. And it's interesting. I feel like you, more than your person, are afraid of commitment. I feel like your person, like the thought of commitment is foreign to them, but they're not scared of it. It's more like they don't understand. They've never kind of dealt with that sort of thing. And the wolf is very like, it's supposed to be like fearless, confident, but it also cares about those that are around it. I think, do wolves mate for life? I don't know, that might be birds, but I'm getting the vibe that it's kind of like a mate for life situation. They just haven't found somebody that they care enough about to want to settle down with. And now here you come along, and all of a sudden they see that possibility, but I feel like you are the one that's scared of commitment, that's kind of backing away. And I feel like you saw things growing with them. You saw things growing between the two of you to be more serious than you wanted, and you put it to a stop, and you put space between the two of you. Almost like you ghosted them, or like you cut off contact or suddenly disappeared from their life. And because of that, they're like really mad at this disruption. Like they're literally like, what the heck just happened? Like, I feel like they don't really understand relationships. And you understand them but fear them, if that makes sense. Like, I feel like your person's never really been in a committed relationship, or they've never even really been in a relationship with somebody that they cared about. They're definitely the type to like hook up, but they've never cared deeply about someone, and that concept is almost foreign to them. But they've started to care about you, and you were like, whoa, I just want to live my life. I just want to be like in my hot girl summer. I don't want to be strapped down to any person. I just want to be like my confident me, strutting around as a peacock. I want to collect people that are like into me, and I don't want to be tied down, especially not tied down to somebody that I feel like you guys are so different. Like, you guys might be complete polar opposites from one another. And it's funny because it's like you have this strong, energetic bond that draws the two of you together, like super strong magnets, but you are so different from each other. Like, it might even be like looks-wise you're different, but I feel like especially personality. Like, you are just polar opposites, and yet something is drawing you apart. I also forgot to say the wolf is earth energy and the peacock is air energy. And so I feel like you're an air sign. I'm definitely getting air sign vibes, like the type that's like social butterfly, trying to go off, talk to all these different people. They love to party, they love to have fun, versus earth energy is much slower, much more grounded. And it's kind of like once they're sure of something that they want, then that becomes something solid. And you're like, no, I'm not going to be tied down. I'm an air sign. I'm going out. I'm getting what I want. I am not tied down. I don't want to be an earth sign. I'm an air sign. And this earth sign is so confused. It's like, oh my God, this person is literally flying around like a bird, and they're the mountain. And they're like, what the heck? Can this person just slow down and chill for a second? And I feel like your person has had kind of a hard life. They might have had a really difficult upbringing. They might have had even like abusive parents or just neglectful. And I feel like your person is a really loving person on the inside, but they don't understand how to give love, if that makes sense. And you are somebody that made them feel so happy, and it's like, I feel like they kind of blocked out what happiness even was. It's such a foreign feeling to them. And they felt so happy to be around you. They felt this connection, and all of a sudden it's like they were living in this black and white life, and you brought color into their life. You know, you're the peacock, you're filled with color. And for you that's normal, but for them, I feel like they've lived in the dark for a very long time, and they've had to just protect themselves and not really be open to many things. And now that you've left, all of a sudden you put distance between the two of you. They're angry, they're really mad that suddenly there's this distance, this disruption, but at the same time they're really afraid, because I feel like for a second they felt something authentic and they felt something real, like a real feeling, and for so long they've been so closed off to feelings. I really feel like your person might just totally be like, almost seem like a robot on the outside, and I feel like your friends are like, what do you even want with that person? Like, they are this cold, unfeeling, like they don't, but you kind of see them for who they are. You saw something deeper, and you felt something deeper, and they felt it too, and I feel like that's why they're so afraid and they're so angry. And I feel like that's why you're so afraid to commit, because this is this foreign thing with this person that's so different from me, and it's completely different from the life that I'm leading right now, the kind of life of fun and like air sign energy. Here comes this like random wolf out of nowhere. I'm a freaking peacock. Like, And I feel like that's this metamorphosis that you guys are going through. This is this big change in the relationship that's like, you're kind of on this step of, what do I do? Things are changing so quickly. Do I want this with them? You're not sure what you want. And I feel like that's why you came to this video today, to figure out, like, how do you actually feel about them? Because you don't know. This is such a foreign concept, such a foreign person from anyone else that you've ever dealt with in your life. They're like this enigma to you that you just can't understand. So, with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and put these cards away, and then we're going to get into the tarot to see exactly how you feel about them. Honestly, truly, like, no funny business. How do you feel about your person right now? So, we're going to go ahead and get that, and we'll be right back. Alright, first of all, I want to start, before I forget, by saying that you have 2, 2, and 2 here in very important placements, literally beginning, middle, and end. So you could be seeing 2, 2, 2 a lot. That might be a sign that that this person, this situation is, it's an important time in your life to take a step back and examine exactly what you're supposed to be learning from this situation. Me personally, whenever I get angel numbers, I like to think of it as time to be more aware and more conscious of what's going on in my life, because there's some underlying lesson, there's something important about what's going on right now. And I feel like that could be a message to you that this person isn't just like a flash in the pan. This is something significant. This relationship, even if it's not meant to be anything more than it is still an important time in your life. It's making you feel these things because there's an underlying meaning behind it. There's an underlying message or lesson for you to learn. I feel like, pile 1, you're definitely the type that enjoys partying, enjoys going out, and enjoys having fun with friends. But I'm almost getting this picture in my mind of, like, there's this raging party that you're at and you're supposed to be having fun, but it's like you kind of like leave and go off to the balcony like this, and you're just staring off the edge of the balcony and you're like, I miss that emperor guy, the wolf, he's showing up as like this very stable, very self-disciplined type of person, and like, I feel like I'm getting this image in my mind of this big, strong, burly guy, not necessarily saying that your person's a guy, but this is the image in my mind that I'm getting, is your person showing up as this like big, strong person, like covered in tattoos. It's like a part of a band. They ride a motorcycle. They just seem really, really cool and like super attractive to you. And then you get to know them, and like, you know what he does on the weekends? He sews and he knits. He knits little hats for little kittens, and you're like, what the heck? And that's not necessarily a bad thing for you, but I feel like you've always chased the bad boy. You've always chased the cool, attractive, like kind of grunge, kind of mysterious, sexy, but like maybe kind of toxic people. And like, you were expecting to get that from this person, like, and there was lots of passion here. But at the same time, they're so different from anybody else that you've ever been with, like internally. I feel like your person is also really mature, and has a very stable facade of their emotions, if that makes sense. Like, their emotions seem like they're showing up here as this King of Cups. Like, they're very much in control of their emotions, at least on the outside. And there's a lot of blue here too. So your person might have a water and earth dominated chart. I know I said they might be an earth sign, specifically like an earth rising in the beginning, but I feel like also water is very prevalent in their chart. I feel like maybe specifically Pisces. I don't know why I'm getting that for some reason. But I feel like your person seems very deep, and I feel like they've dealt with a lot of emotions in their life, and because of that, they've kind of got like a lock on it. And I don't necessarily think that they've worked through everything, but they do a good job at managing their emotions. And I feel like that's why they just seem so stable, so concrete and quiet and like chill, versus you being like an air sign that's like, rah, like running around the place. But back to my analogy, I feel like you're kind of like, I should be enjoying this party, but then you go off to the balcony and you're just staring off into the distance and you're like, God, I miss that person. I miss my person. And your person is showing up as the Emperor, which is kind of the opposite as like the party type. They're very self-disciplined, very calm, very structured. Like your person probably enjoys a pretty routine life. um and like I said, like I don't know why I'm getting like they like sewing or knitting, or maybe they enjoy playing chess a lot, but I feel like your person almost has the energy of like an old man, like grandpa energy. And you're like, this person is so boring. Like, why am I obsessed with them? And I feel like it's because on the inside, they're really just this soft, sweet person with this kind of like cold, rough exterior because that's what they learned growing up. But on the inside, it's like very Cancer energy. Like, very like they built this strong, tough outer shell, but on the inside, they're just mushy gushy. And I feel like you, Pile One, you really have been wanting to get out of a toxic lifestyle. I feel like you can tell that, the type of guys that you go after, the type of people that you go after, aren't necessarily the best. They could be pretty toxic, and you could also um, deal with certain addictions, and that doesn't necessarily need to be like substance addictions, but it could be like lifestyle addictions, like addiction to partying, maybe drinking, or you just seem to like a part of you really wants to get out of this toxic cycle. And that's why you keep coming to the balcony at the party. And you're getting kind of tired of partying because, maybe that was a coping mechanism at one point. Maybe that really fulfilled you at one point. But now you're kind of going through this change, again, to come back to this metamorphosis, where you want something different. And I feel like you can feel yourself changing. And even if this person isn't the person you're meant to end up with, you feel yourself drawn to them, drawn to their energy, because you're changing. And I feel like, Pile One, you're kind of afraid to chase this person because you've been hurt in the past. I don't know why I'm getting the vibe that you may have been abused by a previous partner. This doesn't necessarily need to be physically. It could be like they really gaslit you, they really were controlling, or they could have just been like a serial cheater. I don't know why I'm getting that vibe. And I feel like you're afraid to settle down for that reason, which, is understandable, but I feel like, obviously everybody's situation is different, so I can't tell you to go to this person, but the vibe I'm getting from this person is that they wouldn't hurt. They might show up as this wolf energy that reminds you of these other, like, hyenas you've been with, but the wolf is also a protector. They're very loving. They have a pack that they want to take care of. Like, even in the guidebook, it talks about them being part of a tribe where they took care of the ones that they loved. They protected the weaker ones. And your person is really showing up as a protector, which, they might look scary on the outside, but they're not there to attack. They're there to protect. And I feel like you're in this state of denial over whether or not you should make a decision. Should I like even try to chase after this person? Should I just forget them? And you're kind of in this state of limbo where you're just ignoring your decision altogether, ignoring the responsibility of needing to make a decision because you're scared, because you don't want to leave them. You don't want to lose them. I feel like if you wanted to, you would have done it by now, but you're still so drawn to them because I think deep on the inside, you want to leave this lifestyle that you've been leading. And not necessarily like settle down, but you've been searching for a change, for something better. And I feel like a part of you sees this person and sees that they could be that better change. And I feel like it's definitely a part of your spiritual journey, with the Judgment card. And it's almost like you're being called to make this choice, and you're so scared of making the wrong decision because what if you go to them and they're just as bad as the previous person? Or what if you choose them and it doesn't work out? Or what if you're not good enough? Or what if this is the kind of life that you're just meant to live and you're not supposed to escape? But I feel like the universe and your guides are telling you that there is so much better for you out there, that you are being called to something greater, that you are being called to actually chase something that makes you happy, that makes you fulfilled, that's not draining your energy. Because I feel like this current lifestyle that you're leading, at one point it might have fulfilled you, it might have made you happy, but now it's draining your life force. And with this King of Cups card, I feel like your person is showing up as this really mature, gentle, emotional, romantic, compassionate person, but also somebody very strong. Someone that, he's not a pushover. He's very in tune with his emotions, but he is not going to be bullied. And if you want to be with them, I keep saying him, so sorry, it's more like divine masculine, divine feminine. If you want to be with this person, you have to make up your mind about what it is that you actually want. And you have to come forward to him or them with, hey, this is what I want, and I'm ready to take on the responsibility of committing to it. Because your person isn't the type to, like, enjoy being around flaky people, because I feel like that drains them just as much as your current lifestyle is draining you. And if you don't know what you want, then they're kind of just gonna do what's best for themselves and kind of like clam up and walk away because they have to protect themselves and protect their heart. And that's kind of what they've done. They've always been this lone wolf type, and for a second it's like they were ready to open up and let you in, protect you. But now they're so hurt, they're so angry, they're so upset that they've let themselves be vulnerable to that. That now it's like you've got to either decide that you want to commit to this person and be upfront, be honest, be like, I'm not here to play games, I know what I want, or just let them go. Because I feel like it's unfair to them to kind of toy with their heart. And until you know exactly what you want, you shouldn't come forward. And your person will probably recognize that you're not ready, and they'll be like, I don't want to play games. And if anything, it'll just upset them more if you come forward when you're not ready. So you really have a decision to make here. You see with the twos, it's also all about decision. This one is like closing your eyes, not wanting to make a decision. This one is, going back and forth between two different decisions. And this one is looking at what they truly want. And so it's like, you know what you really want. You want to be with this person. That's how you feel about them. You want to be with this person. You know that they're good for you. But you're afraid, and I understand that. But at the same time, you already know what you want. So you can decide not to go after them, continue to live this life that's draining you, continue to be unfulfilled. But the universe is trying to teach you a lesson right now. And from my point of view, there's only one good option. But also, I don't know you. I don't know your unique circumstances. Everybody, of course, is going to be different. This is a general reading. But I think Spirit is telling you, follow your passion, follow your desire, follow what you actually want with the Ace of Wands. The Ace of Wands is about fire, it's about passion, it's about creativity. Follow those feelings. And if this person makes you feel like that, then that's the right decision. All right. So, Pile 1, that is all that I have for you today. I really hope that you enjoyed your reading. If so, please support in any way that you can. Like, subscribe. I do post about once a week, maybe twice a week now, honestly. But if not, feel free to check out the other videos on my page, because I have posted quite a few up until this point. And if you want a personal reading, I do provide those. Check the link in the description box below to my shop. But without further ado, thank you so much for watching, Pile 1. I truly wish you the best in this situation, and yeah, that's all. See you later. Bye-bye. All right, welcome. If you chose the Pheonix card, then this is going to be the pile for you. And I want to start off by telling you a little bit about how this reading is actually going to work. So, I'm going to start off with the Animal Spirit Oracle deck, which is this deck right here. And we're going to be getting a card for how you see yourself versus how you see them. And this is kind of just like the overarching energy of what's going on between the two of you right now. And then after that, we're going to be using the Prism Oracle deck to see how the situation is going from your point of view and how it's going from your person's point of view. So this will be a good way to see like how the situation is going like overall, but also your guys' separate point of views, because sometimes some people think that the situation is going really good and others think it's going really bad. But also I feel like it's a good way to see, what's the point of view? Like, let's see it from both people's point of views, not just one person's. And then finally, we're going to be using the tarot to see how do you honestly feel about them right now. And this will be a good way to kind of just see, behind the curtain, how do you actually feel? Because sometimes we tell ourselves a different story from how we're actually feeling. and this will be a good way to kind of uncover that and hopefully give you some clarity on this situation. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and pause and get the 2 cards, and we'll be right back. All right, pile 2. I got your cards, and I want to start off by saying that you could be an air sign and your person could be a water sign. If not, then it could be that you have very air dominant chart and they have a very water dominant chart. But also those are just kind of the energies that we're seeing initially. Doesn't necessarily mean that those are your zodiac signs. Getting into it, I feel like you and your person were previously together, though it feels almost like it was a long while ago, back when you were different people, and I feel like you went through a period of no contact. And I feel like now either one or both of you is trying to reach out. It could be specifically your person is trying to reach out with the octopus card, because it is kind of reaching out with its many tentacles, but also the octopus has to do with yearning, and I feel like your person very much still misses you. And I feel like there's also, you both feel there's unfinished business here. Specifically, I feel like neither of you really got closure in your relationship. Things didn't end correctly. And I feel like one of you may feel guilty about how things ended, and another is just kind of searching for closure, I guess. Somebody wants to reach out, somebody wants to talk, and somebody wants to, fix that bridge that was once burned. And this doesn't necessarily mean that they want a relationship with you so much as they just want to clear the air, because I feel like both of you, even in separation, could kind of feel each other. Like, it's almost as if there's a line connecting both of your hearts, and every so often you can feel it tug, or you can feel it be strum, and it's like you feel their thoughts, you feel their feelings, and this connection is so strong because it has yet to be fully resolved. And with the Pheonix card, I feel like you thought that everything was done, everything was burned and there's ash, but the Pheonix rises from the ash, and I feel like what you thought was once previously over has yet to be finished. So for some of you, I see a relationship blooming again after years of separation. For others, I see you finally getting closure. But more than anything, I just see the both of you having a desire to talk and communicate, because there are underlying issues that haven't been resolved yet. Getting into the cards themselves, with the Firefly, I believe that you're showing up as a person that's very creative. You could be an artist, you could be a writer, a musician, but you're very creative. You're very quick, you're very witty. And I feel like your person is also very intelligent, but I feel like I'm getting like engineer, or like someone in STEM, a chemist, maybe like a computer nerd, comp sci. And so I feel like the two of you are very intelligent, you're able to bounce ideas off each other, but fundamentally one is very like into tech or math and science, and the other is like, I'm a free hippie. Not saying you're a hippie, but you're more creative in the artistic sense. You may be really into poetry, you may be very spiritual, versus your person likes to believe they're very grounded in reality, and that could be one of the reasons that things might have ended between the two of you, just because like differing ideals, but that could also be what drew you two together in the first place. And I also see here, the octopus is all about reaching out, and they're really good at forming connections, though I believe they could have formed a connection with someone else. For some of you, your person may have cheated or may have talked to somebody else when they shouldn't have, but if that's not the case, I'm also getting the vibe that they may be the type to be a little bit too, not clingy, what's the word I'm trying to search for? It's like when they have a lack of boundaries and they want to be surrounding you, they want to be deep in a part of your life, but you're kind of this free spirit that's like, whoa, that's a little too deep too fast, and your person is like, I don't know what word I'm searching for, but it's very much a lack of boundaries emotionally. They could have tried to be very involved in getting to know you to the point where it felt like you couldn't tell them to stop and like they were getting too deep, and then that could be a reason that you guys broke up. I'm definitely getting like a romantic separation, but for some of you it could be friendship. Um, I also do get a big friendship vibe, so I take it back. It could be romantic or friendship. I'm getting kind of like equal vibes here. Um, but nonetheless, it seems that there was a separation because your person kind of like overreached and pushed past your boundaries too much. But I'm getting the sense that this happened when they were much younger, and I almost feel like there's a vibe that they've changed, or you can sense that they've changed, and that's why you have this Phoenix card of suddenly it's time to reopen those old wounds so that you can resolve everything and fully heal the scars of the past. Now, I'm going to go ahead and put these cards out of the way, and then we're going to be getting out the Prism Oracle deck, and from there we're going to see how you're viewing the situation and how your person is viewing the situation. So, we'll be right back. Okay, pile 2. I went ahead and got your cards, and again, this side is how you're viewing the current situation or relationship with your person, and this side is how they are viewing that same situation or relationship. Again, I do feel like you two have spent a lot of time apart. You were in separation, and suddenly I feel like something has brought the two of you together. I do feel like they reached out, but I also get the sense that both of you have changed drastically from where you once were. I feel like you have really taken the time to grow as a person, and you've become, this is going to sound so woo-woo, but it's like you've become one with the flow of your purpose in life. You understand what the universe wants from you. You understand what your purpose in life is, and you're allowing it to like flow you down the stream of life, if that makes sense. Like you know what you're meant to do, you know who you are, you know where you are in life, and you're just in this flow state. You're not going against like lessons or things that you need to learn. You're allowing everything to happen, and you're an observer of life, and you're really enjoying life, enjoying growing, and you're very present for your life. And with the growth card, I feel like not only have you grown internally, but I feel like you've put a lot of love and work into making your space, like the physical space that you live in, a home. You've surrounded yourself with only people that you want around you, and you've really minimized your life to make it your own, so that you're not holding on to anything that you don't want. Nothing that doesn't serve you is around you, you know? And I feel like all of a sudden they've reached out, and it's kind of thrown a wrench into your life. It's almost like when a record scratches and then everybody's silent and they're like, what the? And you're feeling, it's bringing up a lot of emotions from the past that you may have buried about this person. And all of a sudden you're feeling the pain that you once felt because of them. And you're also feeling very cautious because what if I get hurt again? And so you're very just kind of waiting for them to make the next move. But at the same time, I feel like whether or not you admit it, a part of yourself is kind of hoping that you guys can have what you once had before things went so bad, because you do miss them, but you're also very hurt by the pain of what happened before. And you're very cautious. You're not letting them into your life right away. And, you know, you're a very different person now, and you're kind of just observing them to see if they are different as well. For your person, I feel like with the space card, you see it's like it's a void. And I almost get the sense that ever since the two of you have been apart, they have felt that void of not having you in their life. It's like they're missing their missing puzzle piece. I almost get like ex-best friend vibes. Like you guys were once so close, and now you're so far apart, and they feel that void. And with the anger card, I feel like they're really angry at themselves for how they let everything go so, is it awry? I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, but they're so mad at themselves for letting things go so wrong. And they feel how much they miss you. When I look at the octopus card, it almost looks like it's raining on the octopus. And like, obviously the octopus loves the water, but it's like almost sad, like they've been left out in the rain. With abundance, I feel like your person has definitely grown a lot. But more than anything, I just think that they're doing really well in life, especially money-wise. I feel like whatever they were working on career-wise while the two of you were together ended up coming to fruition, or for some reason they have a lot of money. They're very comfortable, and I feel like they haven't gone on this journey of self-growth the same way that you have, but they still have matured a lot. They've definitely learned their lesson from the way that things ended, and they don't want to repeat it. And with the hunger card, I feel like they're missing you, they're missing their relationship with you, they're missing your energy. They miss how they used to feel when they were with you. And again, I feel like they really feel that void of missing you because, you know, the octopus is in the dark with all this rain, and you're the firefly, you are that light in the darkness. You really illuminated things for them. And with this color on top of the octopus's head, I'm almost thinking like they still feel the remnants of how you made them feel, but they miss the source of it, which is you. And I feel like that's why they reached out, because things didn't end the way that they should have, in their opinion. And I feel like since you guys are at such different points in your life now, they think it's a good time to kind of check in and be like, hey, so how's life been with you? Oh, you know, not much. But on the inside, it's like they miss you so much, and they're like, how do I get back to where I once was? I'm so sorry I hurt you. I'm so mad at myself. I'm probably more mad at myself than you are mad at me. And you're like, I've grown, I've changed, I've blossomed. I don't want to invite somebody that's gonna hurt me back into my life. And I feel like they don't want to hurt you again, but they just miss you so much that they hunger for having you in their life. Whether or not I think that they're genuinely changed, I can't tell you. I do think that they've definitely matured and learned their lesson, but learned their lesson in the way that they don't want to hurt you again because they don't want to lose you. But however they were in the previous relationship, I can't say. This is a general reading, so it is different for everybody, but this is the overarching sort of meaning that I'm getting here. Now I'm going to go ahead and move the cards around, and I'm going to get out the tarot, and we're going to see exactly how you feel about your person, to hopefully give us a look behind the curtain and get you some clarity on how you actually feel about them. So we're going to go ahead and get that out, and we'll be right back. Also, I haven't gotten the cards out yet, but I had a thought of what I wanted to say. You see yellow is kind of the most prevalent color in these cards, and also previously with the cards out you had yellow cards showing up again for hunger and caution and stuff like that. And yellow makes me think like childhood. This could be a childhood best friend, but it could also be like someone that you were friends with or were in a relationship with when you were younger. So think like middle school, high school, depends on where you are in life, but when you were younger. And it's somebody that you kind of look back on those memories with them fondly. And sadly, those memories have been marred by the end of the relationship. And I feel like with the Phoenix card, it's kind of coming alive from the ash of that previous relationship to leave you with better memories, because I feel like this relationship doesn't deserve to end on such a sad note. Even if it's not coming back to life, it at least deserves closure so that you can look back on it fondly and not look back on it so sadly. But I just wanted to quickly say that before I forgot. And again, yeah, I'll be right back with the cards. Okay, pile 2. How you actually feel is obviously very hurt. I feel like this was somebody that you once loved really deeply and purely. Again, I'm getting like 50-50. Like for some people it's about relationships, for some people it's about friendships. But what that makes me think is like this relationship was so deep and so pure, it almost felt like a friendship, even if you were together romantically. And what they did to you felt like such a betrayal. It really felt like you got stabbed in the back. But like not just stabbed once, like this is dramatic. This is the Ten of Swords. Like it almost felt like a death. Like this person was your other half. They were your best friend. They were your person. And it's like they took that love that you had and they just dumped it out. And I feel like when they reached out to you, because I do feel like they were the one that reached out to you, it feels like a sudden, like, oh my god, like, imagine if, like, a notification popped up on your phone and you instinctively, like, threw it across the room and you, like, freaked out. Because it's like you tried your best to close that can of worms and it's just being reopened and you're so scared of being hurt, of feeling this feeling again. Of truly just feeling, like, stabbed, like it's a death, like all of a sudden you can't love anymore because of how badly it hurt you. And it's resurfacing all these old wounds, all these old emotions, and you're realizing like you never fully moved on from it, you just buried it because it was too painful to fully resolve. And it wasn't resolved, it was a betrayal. And all of a sudden it's like your life's been put upside down and you can't think clearly. All you can think about is, oh my god, what do they want? Am I gonna get hurt again? I can't deal with this. And a part of you is almost putting up this outer shell of, how do I approach them? How do I talk to them? Because it almost feels like the aftermath of a battle. And it's like, you have to really steel yourself and almost put on like armor before you talk to them. And not let any walls down, not let your guard down, not let yourself be vulnerable. Like it truly felt like a tower moment when they reach out to you. And now you don't know how to feel. This is like this sudden emotional upheaval. And it's like, your life is still fine, but I feel like you didn't realize how much pain you were still holding on to until you saw their name again, until you saw them reach out to you, until you saw their name pop up on your phone or however it was. And now your life is like, mentally you're in shambles and it's just resurfacing all these old memories, all these old wounds. And a part of you doesn't even want to think about it. Part of you just wants to kind of like block out how you feel about them. And it's reminding you of a time where you were a much different person, but also where they were a much different person, a person that did things that they shouldn't have, and you just want to be mad at them. And it almost makes you just want to cry again. And with the Moon card, I feel like there's so many unresolved issues that you're looking at and you're like, it's almost like flipping through an old scrapbook. I don't know if you guys actually had a scrapbook or if you have old letters from them or old pictures, but suddenly it's like all of that has been just put in front of you and you're just kind of going through it. For some of you, you might actually be physically going through these things, rereading old letters, looking at old photos, and it's putting this weight on you, this weight of sadness. But I do see that you want to let go of this weight. And you're tired of fighting, you're tired of being upset, you just want closure, you just want this pain to go away. And I think the only way that you can let it go away is by closure. But again, this is a general reading. Everybody's version of closure is going to be different. But I think your underlying desire is, as mad, as scared, as sad as this makes you feel, as crazy and chaotic as it makes your mind feel, what you truly want and how you truly feel is you just want closure. You want to let go of all this baggage of the past and you want to say like, I forgive you. And you know what? I used to think that forgiveness was bullshit. Some people don't deserve forgiveness. But if not do it for them, do it for yourself. Because I still see you holding on to so much of this pain, so much of these unresolved feelings. But I see a hesitance to do so because on one hand, they hurt you so deeply you feel like they don't deserve it, and you're not sure if you're even ready to speak to them again. But I think that what you want and what will truly help you is to let go of this baggage. And hold on, let me look. I have the Animal Spirit Guidebook right here, and I was literally looking at the Pheonix card. Let me see if I can read it to you, because it literally talks about like burning old baggage. Let me read it. The Pheonix represents the transformation of our past. It doesn't mean running from it, denying it, or burning bridges with rage. The Pheonix employs an advanced technique described in yoga as the burning of impurities through practice and dedication. The essence of the Pheonix is with us when we realize we've been suffering too long and something must change. We take a stand and decide to live consciously instead of being driven by the unconscious mind and its long list of fears and aversions. At that very moment, the spark of the Pheonix is lit, and the great bird helps us burn through our baggage. We no longer run from who we are, what has happened to us, or what we have done. The stuckness and dead weight fall into the ashes, and a lightness and clarity emerge. As the stagnancy continues to smolder, the Pheonix lifts our spirits up, and we begin to recognize ourselves again. We may catch a glimmer in our eye that wasn't there before. Look closely. It's a sign the fire of transformation is upon your wings. So, I didn't truly realize that until we got to the very end. The very first card is basically encompassing this reading, encompassing what you need and how you feel. You just want to let go of that baggage. You want to burn through it and allow yourself to move forward through life, not weighed down by these feelings anymore. And I feel like that's why this person is coming in again. It feels very much like a spiritual lesson that you've changed into a different person. They've changed into a different person. You don't need to live and define your life by who you once were and things that once hurt you, because those things that once hurt you are not meant to hurt you anymore. They're gone. They're over. It's in the past. So it's time to move on. It's time to get closure. It's time to forgive, forget, so you can move forward as a different person. Even if this person's not in your life anymore, even if you just get closure from them and leave, that's all you need, because Spirit is saying it's time to let go of that baggage. So I think that was a wonderful way to end this reading. Pile 2, thank you so much for watching if you got this far. I truly wish you the best in your situation. If you can leave a like or subscribe, that helps me a ton. I do post once or twice a week, mostly twice a week these days. But yeah, if you want a personal reading, I do provide those. You can check the link in the description box below, or just feel free to check out the other videos that I posted, see if one you feel drawn to. But that's all I have to say today. Thank you so much for watching. I wish you the best. Bye-bye. Alright, pile 3, welcome. If you chose the Elk card, then this is going to be the reading for you. Now, today I just want to quickly start off by telling you exactly what we're going to be doing in this reading. This first card is from the Animal Spirit deck, and we're going to be starting with that deck to just get one card for how you see yourself and how you see your person in this relationship. And this is kind of like the overarching energy of, what's going on between the two of you. Then after that, we're going to be getting out the Prism Oracle deck to see how the situation is going from your point of view and from your person's point of view. Because sometimes if you look at it just from one person's point of view, it's obviously skewed. So we'll get both people's points of views of the same situation. So that gives me a good idea of what's going on. And then we'll finally end with the tarot to see how do you honestly feel about your person. And this will give us a good look behind that curtain. Help you hopefully get clarity on how you actually feel, not how you tell yourself you feel, not the chaotic feelings inside your mind, but how do you actually feel about this person. So I'm going to go ahead and get the cards, and we'll be right back. Okay, pile 3. I went ahead and got your cards, and I'm getting kind of an interesting vibe. Usually I get 2 people as kind of card energies, but here I've almost got emotions. And I feel like something has shaken up life between you and your person. I think that you're very close. You're in a relationship, or it could be just partnership of some kind. You could even be working together. But whatever you're working towards, or whatever environment you're in together. Something has recently shaken you up, and I feel like usually in relationships, we only really see each other's good sides. And it's very rare, like, unless you're, like, traveling and, like, let's say your flight gets delayed, or suddenly you're in a recession and something big hits, that's when you see how your person, or how you deal with those tragic situations in life. How do you deal with tragedy? And sometimes we see people do really well under pressure, and other times we see the darker side of them, the side that we're not really used to. And I'm kind of go off on a tangent here, but sometimes that's why relationships, especially people that get married too quickly, that's why their marriages or relationships seem to fizzle out, is because they've only seen their person at their best. And then something big, like catastrophe, happens, and all of a sudden they see their person at their worst. And they're not used to that. And I feel like something has recently shaken up the two of you. Some sort of catastrophe or tragedy has struck, and I feel like you almost want to take space from your person. Because I feel like your person showing up here is the fire ant, and they're very much like an explosion of energy, anger, very frantic energy, running around, trying to put out fires. But it's also very upset, very explosion of energy. You see it expanding outwards, and you're in this kind of like protection mode where you shut down, and you see you're encircling yourself, protecting your inner energy, versus they're spreading outwards. And I feel like you're almost running away from your person. You're trying to hide. You're putting up this wall to protect yourself. And it could even be because, like, maybe your person isn't outwardly being harmful to you, but the way that they're behaving in the situation reminds you of, I don't know why I want to say a father figure. The elk is kind of the father figure. And I feel like you're really used to seeing your person as a very stable, caring person, and now that you're seeing them in this kind of like angry, frantic, hectic role, you're kind of like closing in on yourself, and you're scared because maybe you had a father or mother, somebody that should have been taking care of you, that didn't protect you the way that they should have, and may have had anger or emotional issues. I'm sorry if that's hard for some of you to hear. This is going to be a very specific reading, so if that's not resonating with you, then it could be that this is on the pile for you. But for those of you that do feel like this resonates, I want to say that it's going to differ person to person, of course, because this is a general reading. So if your person is actually being physically harmful, then it's time to get out of there. But if it's more like they're just showing negative emotions because they're really stressed out about something, I understand how that can be very triggering for you, especially if it reminds you of somebody from your past that's done this. But you're kind of just seeing your person at their worst, and that's not necessarily them. I also feel like they might not realize how it's affecting you. You could really be shutting down. You could feel a need to run away and hide. You might even feel the need to kind of like break up with them. I'm getting more relationship vibes. So like earlier I said it's like partnership, but I feel like more you're in a relationship. You could be in a marriage, especially married rather young. And definitely being very frightened at this person that you feel like they're becoming, if that makes sense. But with the elk card, I'm almost getting this underlying feeling of they are actually a very stable person. They are someone you can go to for comfort. You know, the elk is not a carnivore, it's an herbivore. It's a very calming presence, but they also have these horns for when they need to defend. And you see the elk card, the horns are covered in fire, and it's almost like when they need to defend their person, they will do so in a very aggressive, bloody manner. And the way that they think that they're behaving is really trying to protect themselves. They might even for some of your situations be trying to protect you, but how it's coming off to you is them being this antagonistic, scary looking person that's not this stable person. And I do think underneath they are still that stable, comforting person, but right now you're seeing them, how they deal with tragedy. And I feel like especially if you haven't communicated to them how that makes you feel, they're not going to realize that they're doing something wrong. They're not going to realize that they're scaring you. And I see you almost forming like an egg around yourself. The snake is encircling you. So you're like shutting down, you're putting up these walls and you're protecting yourself. And it almost makes me think like of a little child wanting to run away and hide in the closet. And I feel like that's maybe what you had to do back when, you know, the person that was supposed to be your protector was being very aggressive, and now this person that you're with is reminding you of that. And again, everybody's situation is different. For some, your person could actually be very harmful, and if you're going through that, definitely this is not a situation you should stay in. But for some of you, I feel like you're more going through emotions that are being triggered based on past experience. And you're thinking that your person is worse than they are because the way that they are acting reminds you of a bad person. A personal experience I can use, and this might be a little bit much, but something that I recently went through with my partner was I didn't realize how upset I got when people around me were drunk, because it reminded me of when the adults in my life would be drunk and it felt very unsafe. And I knew I was never in physical danger, but it felt like I was losing the comforting aspects of them. And even though my partner was just like having fun getting drunk, but I was still sober, it reminded me of that, and it made me want to enclose on myself. It made me want to clam up and not speak, and I just felt really uncomfortable. And I feel like that's kind of the situation that you're going through right now. So, I just spoke a lot, I know, this is only the beginning, but pile 3, I'm going to go ahead and put these cards to the side, and we're going to get out the Prism Oracle deck and see how you're viewing the current situation between you and your person, and how they're viewing the situation. So, I'll be right back. Alright, pile 3, I got your cards, and it almost makes me want to cry because I feel like you have such a pure love, you and your person, not just you for them, but them for you. And again, I think it's been a misunderstanding. I feel like your person felt the need to defend. I'm not sure the situation that you're going through, but your person felt like they needed to be the strong one. They needed to be the pillar that holds everything together. But in doing so, they looked so scary and stony-faced to you because they turned into this pillar of strength, and all that strength kind of made the comfort and softness and sweetness that you know disappear, and you thought maybe it wasn't even there to begin with. Maybe this is who my person is. But it's almost like I'm getting the vibe like, imagine you're with someone and you're walking down this scary path, and they're your protector, and you're holding their hand, and they're very comforting, very gentle, and then something like a wolf comes out of the bush, and all of a sudden they turn into this monster to scare away the wolf. But all you see is this monster, and you're thinking, oh my god, I've been with this monster this whole time. But all they were doing was protecting you. They were trying to defend you. And I feel like your person had to put up so much energy, so much strength to get you through this situation, but they didn't even realize what they were doing to you. They didn't realize how they were scaring you until it was already too late. And with the fear card, I feel like you're afraid that the magic, the sweetness, that everything that you felt with this person, the love, the comfort, that it was all in your head with the ideation card, and you're afraid that you've accidentally betrayed yourself by letting yourself become close to somebody that's actually just gonna hurt you. And so I feel like when you're in adrenaline mode, you're like running away, you're trying to hide, that you don't really see things for how they are. Like imagine if you just ran away from that monster, and then the monster turns back into the person that you knew, and they're like, I was just trying to protect you. Now again, for some of you, if you are in an abusive relationship where you're being physically or emotionally abused, this is not for you. This does not apply to you. That I'm not advocating for relationships where you get hurt and then you just forgive them. This is a very specific reading for a very specific set of people that are experiencing emotions that have been triggered by past things that are clouding their judgment of a person that's actually not a bad person. But if you're with someone that is a bad person, do not stay with them. I need to emphasize that because I do not want you to think like, oh, they only hit me this one time. They were only doing it because it's my fault. No. That shit does not fly on this channel. So if you are in a bad situation, this reading is not for you. So please do your best to differentiate. But if recently you've just been really upset at your person and you're not sure why, they didn't necessarily do anything bad to you, but it's raising up all these old past emotions, that's more what we're talking about here. But I had to get that out of the way because I don't want any misconceptions of what I'm saying here. I'm never advocating for abusive relationships, ever. But pile 3, I think that you're really afraid that this person that you've been with, this person that you've loved and trusted, might not be that person. Like you're just seeing the monster and all of a sudden you're like, oh my god, maybe it was all in my head. And now you just feel fear. Now you're just afraid. Now you're running away from them and you're protecting yourself and you're closing off towards them. And I feel like your person was so caught up in rectifying this bad situation, this tragedy of trying to fix things, trying to protect you, whatever it was that they needed to do, that, you know, they were so busy giving off all this energy. The energy card almost even looks like the Fire Ant card to me, where they're just spreading off in all directions, taking care of this thing, that they didn't even realize what they were doing. And now it's like this big caution sign is going up in their head and they're like, oh my god, what did I just do? I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to hurt you. I didn't mean to scare you. And now they want to come in and they're doing their best to comfort you and be like, hey, I'm sorry I behaved that way. I'm sorry that, you know, I had to put up this front of strength and whatever. They didn't realize that showing that side of themselves would be so scary to you. But I feel like deep down, your person is still the elk. Like I said previously, they're still this, you know, beautiful, comforting, majestic herbivore. They just have these scary horns that they use to defend themselves sometimes. But again, they're not defending against you. They're not hurting you. If your person is actually hurting you, this is not the reading for you. But I feel like I'm walking a very fine line here. But if this is resonating and you understand the message I'm trying to convey, then I hope you know what I'm trying to say here. But I'm going to go ahead and get the final cards, which will be with the tarot, and we're going to look at exactly how you feel about this person right now. How do you feel about your person right now? Honestly, truthfully, no chaotic mindset getting in the way, just how you actually feel. So we'll be right back. Okay, pile 3. Again, like, I'm just getting such a sweet energy here. I feel like your person isn't the big, bad, scary person that you thought that they might be for a second. And I feel like after this, you're just going to be able to rebuild the relationship even stronger than ever. With the Star and the Eight of Pentacles, I feel like it's like after the dust has cleared, you realize, oh, this is still the same person that I trust. This is the same person that I want to build my life with. I feel like they care about you so deeply, and for a second you were scared, but you realize, oh, nothing has changed. It was just, we'd gone through a stressful time, some tragedy of some sort, and you saw the frustrated, stressed side of them, the side that felt like they needed to be strong and figure things out and do everything they could to rectify the situation. And they thought that they were being strong, but they didn't realize that it was triggering for you, the way that they were acting. But afterwards, it's like they're willing to listen. They're ready to hear. They just want you to explain to them what happened, and you know this person. I feel like you've opened your heart to them because you trust them, because you see what good of a person they are. And I feel like with this Eight of Pentacles, it's like they're willing to work on themselves. They're willing to say, oh, and like take a minute and absorb the information that you tell them, and they'll be like, I'm so sorry, I'll never do that again. I'll do my best to never scare you like that again. And it's just this hopeful energy of like, oh, okay, thank God you're not like this horrible person that I thought for a second. Like, and it's like, you never even needed to doubt me, you know? But they understand, and they're willing to learn, they're willing to change, and they're willing to make sure that they never do these things to you again. I feel like your person cares so much, and also they're really willing to communicate with you. And they didn't understand why all of a sudden you became so closed off. It's like a turtle going in its shell, and it's like, what the hell? Like, knock, knock, why did you go in there? And with the Ace of Cups, I just see like they have so much love for you. There's so much deep, pure, unconditional love here. Your person truly does care about you, and I feel like they're even the type to kind of like tease you after and like make jokes to like lighten the mood, like, oh, you really think I was this big bad thing? Me? I'm a vegetarian, or I don't know, something like that. I'm getting like herbivore vibes from the elk, that's why I said that. I feel like from this experience, you'll be doing a lot of introspection. You might, I don't know if you meditate or journal, but I think you'll be taking time to think about this experience, think about the way that it made you feel, the way that it made you react, and you're going to be learning a lot about yourself through this. And everything's going to come back to balance. I feel like it was just this issue that was meant to help you understand better why you're so afraid, why you had these feelings come up, and it's just gonna strengthen your relationship even more. And I feel like they're patting your back after you've cried, and it's like, hey, it's okay. You don't need to be upset. You don't need to, like, I understand. And from there, you'll just move on. I just get like this hug energy, like they're there to comfort you. They love you, and they don't want to make you feel that bad. And then you'll realize afterwards, like, nothing changed. They're still my Knight of Cups. Like, the Knight of Cups is soft and romantic and gentle. And it's like you thought that they were just this, like, soft, romantic, gentle person until they had to be strong and they had to be scary to protect you. And it scared you. For a second, you thought this person never existed, but they're still just this Knight of Cups that's like, I love you. I'm here to protect you. I'm here to comfort you. But I will also be your protector, and I will scare away anybody that tries to get in between our love. Like, they're ready to go. They will fist fight in a bar to protect you, but at the same time, if you tell them that that's triggering for you and you don't want them to be the fighting type, they'll understand. And you'll just see, this is still my teddy bear. They haven't changed. It was just them doing their best to protect me and do what they thought was right. And with the bottom of the deck energy being the Three of Cups, it's almost like celebration afterwards. It's like, hey, it's okay. Everything is fine. We're still in love. We're still together. But I feel like it's this journey of like you had to go through this together to make your relationship stronger, but to also learn more about yourself, learn about what triggers you, what scares you, so that when these issues come up again, you better understand them, and it's not just this confusing thing that you feel like you need to run away and hide in the closet from, you know? But Pile 3, that's all that I have for you here today. Your person loves you very much. That much I can see very clearly. If you got this far, thank you so much for watching. And if you want to support me in any way, like, subscribe. I do post once or twice a week. I also have personal readings. If you want to purchase one, you can check the link in my description box below. And also, if you don't want to do any of that, just feel free to check out my channel, see if you're drawn to any more videos, because I have lots of other ones on my channel just like this. So, thank you so much for watching. I wish you the best, and that's all. Bye-bye. Alright, Pile 4, welcome to your reading. If you chose the Sea Serpent card, then this is going to be the reading for you. Now, before we get into things, I just kind of want to give you a rundown of exactly what we're going to be looking at in this reading here today. So we're going to be starting off with the Animal Spirit deck, which is this deck right here. And we're going to get 2 extra cards to just see how do you view yourself right now and how do you view your person right now. This will give me a good idea of kind of like who you both are as people. And then after that, we're going to get the Prism Oracle deck out, and we're going to see how you're viewing the current situation or relationship between you and your person and how they're viewing it. And this will do a good job of giving us two separate points of views of the same thing, so we can get, both of your experiences while also seeing just, what's going on in general. And then finally, we're going to be using the tarot deck to just kind of look at exactly how you feel about them. And this will kind of lift the curtain, give us some clarity on, exactly how you feel about them when you're not, a mess of emotions, when your mind isn't clear. How do you truly, honestly feel about them? Like, what's going on? So, without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and get the cards, and we'll be right back. Okay, pile 4. I got your cards, and you are being represented here as the rabbit, and your person is being represented as the lizard. And I kind of laughed when I got the cards, because for some reason, it's just like an unlikely duo, but like at the same time, they're both like small, and like they seem like like they'd be cute together, but they're so different. And also, like, this is kind of off topic, but for some reason I was really excited to do your reading. I don't know. It's like, it seemed different somehow from all the other readings. Specifically just because the Sea Serpent card seemed so odd, out of place. Not in a bad way, but anyways, I'll go ahead and tell you all about it. So you're showing up here as the rabbit, and the rabbit is a very fearful creature. The guidebook literally talks about how the rabbit talks nonstop about reminding people like, oh, someday the eagle's gonna get me, someday the eagle's gonna get me, and it's like just this very pessimistic character that kind of tells everybody about how bad their life is. And I'm not here to drag you, okay? This isn't supposed to be like me making fun of you, which I'm not. But I feel like you might have a tendency, pile 4, to bring yourself down, especially with negative talk. And the way we talk and the way we act are literally what develops who we are. We are our actions, we are the way that we speak. And yes, we can have negative thoughts, but once you put those out into the world, you can't take it back. And if you have a tendency to kind of always talk bad about yourself, like for instance, if you're like, oh God, I'm so ugly, it's like, nobody's laughing at that. Why do you say that to yourself? Or if you say, oh, I'm literally gonna fail this class. Well, yeah, you probably are, because you keep telling yourself that you're gonna fail. One second, I have to blow out the incense. It's making me cough. You might have asthma. I don't know why I just thought of that, but you might have, if you don't have asthma, I feel like, I don't know why I'm getting the vibe like you might have been the nerd or the underdog. Like, I'm just getting this archetype of the kid at school that was always kind of bullied or made fun of, or even if it wasn't at school, maybe your parents kind of always talked down to you, and because of that, that's why you've developed this negative self-talk. And it could just be in small things, and it's like, oh, I'm such a bad driver, But it's like, why do you tell yourself that? What you say becomes your reality. And if you're telling yourself all these things, that's what you're going to believe, and that's how you're going to act. But if you tell yourself, like, oh, I'm actually a great driver, or, oh yeah, I'm a great student, I'm really smart, then you'll start living that reality. And you don't necessarily need to tell yourself lies and, like, look in the mirror and be like, I'm 6 feet tall, when you're obviously, like, only 5'2". But it's just simple things by telling yourself, like, no, I'm not a bad driver. I'm fully capable of being a good driver. Just changing the narrative of how you speak to yourself. And I feel like also something in particular that you talk bad to yourself about is like, oh, I'm always choosing the worst guys. Not necessarily that you date guys, but it's like what I'm picturing in my mind is somebody that doesn't think that they deserve better. And because of that, you always go for bad things that end up hurting you. And I feel like the lizard has been put into your life, and like, you're this overthinker that talks really fast, and all of a sudden there's this lizard that like doesn't think very fast at all. And I'm almost getting like empty head. But I don't think that your person is stupid. I think your person is very quiet. They're very reserved. But the thing about the lizard is, even though they might not be the most intellectual, the most always talking, the loudest one of the group, they're very in tune with their senses. They are a master of perception and a master of understanding their environment. And they know when to stay still, they know when to run, they know when to move to a different location, and they know which environment suits them best. And for some reason, this lizard is coming to your life and you're asking about them today. And they seem like an unlikely duo because, they're very different. But I think that they're here to help balance you out. And they're here to help you heal emotional wounds, because that's what the Sea Serpent is all about. And usually I don't read from the guidebook aloud to the camera anymore, just because I'm not the best reader. But I thought that I would read to you about the Sea Serpent card today, because it felt like it's going to encompass this reading, even though I've just barely started it, if that makes sense. So, the Sea Serpent. Healing emotional wounds and expressing desires, which I think is going to be the key topic of your reading today. The Sea Serpent represents the energy of expression. Whether it's emotions, creativity, sensuality, or desire, the Sea Serpent helps us move and direct our energy into a healthy current. When the essence of this card is in balance, we express ourselves creatively and sexually without fear or shame. We know what we desire most. Our hearts are at ease and our relationships are meaningful and enduring. We loosen the grip of self-judgment and we let the cool waters of forgiveness in to heal our wounds. When the energy of the Sea Serpent is not yet activated, our emotions and creativity are left in the muddy waters. The current of expression stagnates in some areas of our lives, and in other places it floods. It's important to remember, no matter what the waters of our emotional lives look like, the Sea Serpent loves us just the same. Like a mother, she wraps herself around us in a gesture of protection. She supports us as we learn to express our true natures. So, I couldn't have said it better myself. Your reading today is all about healing those old wounds, and especially healing that self-talk. What's the source of why you talk to yourself this way? What's your source of believing that you don't deserve better? And also, what role does this person have to play there? So I'm going to go ahead and put these cards to the side, and we're going to get the Prism Oracle deck. And, I've been shuffling off camera mostly, but I feel like for some reason for you guys, I should shuffle on camera. So I'm not going to talk till all the cards are out, so feel free to skip forward if you want to, but I just feel like it's best for me to shuffle on camera today. So, pile 4. How are you viewing the current situation between you and your person, pile 4? How are you viewing the current situation? All right, and pile 4, how is your person viewing the current situation with you? How does your person view the current situation with you right now, pile 4? How does your person view the current situation with you? How is your person current situation with you? Okay, interesting. I feel like the both of you, I don't know if this is a friendship or a romantic connection. I feel like most of these readings tend to be about romantic connections because that's who people are most interested in. But the overarching meaning of your entire reading more has to deal with what you two have to teach each other. And I feel like you're confused about how you feel about this person, but you're also kind of confused about what they're even doing in your life. Like, you guys are polar opposites. The lizard and the rabbit. Like, I guess there are jackrabbits that live in the desert with lizards, but like, they're two different people, two different environments. I feel like for your person specifically, they're not the type to do inner reflection. But I feel like when two very different people come together, they open up different sides to each other that they might not have looked at otherwise, because it's like putting a completely different point of view, completely different life experiences in front of you. And, if you stay in the same environment around the same people, you don't really learn more about yourself. It's only when you're in a different environment or with different people that you realize new things about the world, new things about yourself. And your person with the lizard, like I said, they're masters at perception of their environment, but I don't think that they've ever really looked deeply within themselves. I feel like the lizard is very perceptive, very in the moment, and they don't really dwell on the past and the future too much. Versus the rabbit, I feel like, is always concerned with the past and the future. And, focusing too much on the past is what leaves us in depression, and focusing too much on the future is what makes us feel anxious. But the lizard doesn't seem to deal with any of that. But also a problem is when you only live in the present, you don't fully understand your life experiences and why they make you feel the way that you do, why they make you act the way that you do. And your person and you are both teaching each other so much and opening each other's eyes to different things. You're both separately helping each other heal each other's emotional wounds just by being a part of each other's lives. And I feel like for you specifically, Rabbit, usually I call you guys like Pile 1, Pile 2, Pile 3, etc., but Rabbit, I feel like you're becoming more consciously aware of how you treat yourself. And I feel like for you, obviously people are always like, you have to love yourself, you have to be positive, you have to think of yourself, you gotta love yourself. And, sometimes that sounds like, whatever, that's bullshit, like, it's just self-help talk. But I think you're really waking up to the fact that, and being consciously aware of how what you say to yourself affects yourself. And specifically, I feel like you might deal with depression with the sadness card. You're wanting to clear that headspace. I feel like it's kind of a cloud that's come over your whole body and your mind, and you're kind of keeping yourself in it. Not because you want to, but because that's what you've learned. This is how you treat yourself. This is how you talk to yourself. This is how you've always talked, Because if you are the first one to accept, this self-deprecation, if you're the one to say that you're bad at something first, you don't need to wait for someone else to say it, Then it's kind of like, okay, I'm the only one bullying myself. No one else needs to bully me. And it's kind of this coping mechanism that maybe you had to deal with at one point when people would talk down to you, when they would bully you. Okay, if I say it about myself first, then I don't need to deal with them bullying me, because then they'll be like, oh, okay, she already bullied herself first. Not that you're a she. And so I felt like you thought you were getting ahead of the curve by talking this way, but now there's no more bullies, and it's just you talking badly about yourself. And it's just you keeping yourself in this negative headspace. And I feel like even the people around you are like, kind of like, it's uncomfortable when somebody looks at themselves and they're like, God, I'm so ugly. It's like, what do you want me to say to that? Like, it's awkward. And now you're really waking up to why you act this way. You're being more conscious of how you talk to yourself and just more conscious of your mind. I feel like you might be doing a lot of introspection, and this cleansing card is such a beautiful card. I just really love the color of it, but I feel like you're cleansing away that negativity. And the way that this circle is in the water, it almost makes me feel like you're doing like this hard like dunk, like you're dunking yourself in it. You're like, cleanse, I'm getting rid of this. Like suddenly it's gonna be one day like, I'm no longer doing this. You know what? And maybe this reading helped you make that decision. I sure hope so, because nobody deserves to talk badly about themselves. And if somebody's going to talk badly about yourself, don't try to beat them to it and say like, okay, I'm just going to talk badly about myself first so that they don't do it. Stand up for yourself. I mean, bunnies are the bottom of the food chain, basically. They've never been the type to be the aggressor. They've kind of just always had to roll over and take it. But now, you even see the rabbit standing up. It's like, no, I'm going to stand up for myself. Bunny or not, I'm going to stand up to you predators, and I am not going to let you make me roll over. And I feel like that's something that you're learning from the lizard, I don't know how a bunny would learn that from a lizard, but, the lizard isn't the type to roll over and take it. The lizard doesn't seem to care. And maybe that's how you learn it from them. It's because they're just so content living in the present, doing their own thing. They're not so weighed on by overthinking and pain and stuff like that. I feel like at the same time, your lizard person is learning just as much from you as you're learning from them, which might not seem a lot because I feel like you're more the type to express it and talk about what you're learning and talk about how you're feeling all the time. But the lizard just keeps everything inside, and it's almost like I'm imagining this lizard kind of just sitting on a rock like lizards do, and then all of a sudden their eyes just like pop open and they're like, oh, and their like mouth just like drops, and it's like they've had this learning moment and suddenly they gain consciousness. Because the lizard is there, they're very perceptive, but they're not necessarily conscious of the inner workings of their mind. And so you're really illuminating new ideas to them and really kicking off this period of reflection that they're going through. And I feel like for them, it's very different, it's very scary, and it's not what they're used to. And they want to put a stop to it. And I feel like that may be why you've asked about them today. Maybe they've put distance between the two of you. Maybe they've closed off from you. Because even though it seems to you like what you're going through is like, oh, I'm learning this revolutionary thing, I'm learning so much from this person, they've like, they had a drop of what it was like to like introspect, and they're like, no, I'm getting out of here. This is scary. This is not what I'm used to. And they might have put distance between the two of you. So I feel like I've talked a lot for your pile. I don't want this reading to be too long. Maybe some people do like long readings, but I know that I can be pretty long-winded. But we're gonna go ahead, put these cards away. I'm gonna get out the tarot and we're gonna see exactly how do you feel about this person right now. Because a lot of this was more about like life lessons, but how do you actually feel about them? So I'm gonna get out the tarot and we'll be right back. Okay, I'm in the process of getting these cards out, but let me tell you, the amount of cards that have like flung out of the deck and fallen on the ground is pissing me off. Like, girl, can you stay on the table? It's actually really annoying. But for some reason that made me feel like they're running away. Like, or maybe you're running away, but somebody's running. And I feel like with what the previous card said about the lizard, they're the one running away because they're not quite sure how to feel about all this. But I'm gonna go ahead and keep getting the cards. Feel free to skip forward, but I just felt like saying that part, so. Does pile 4 actually feel about the person right now? Whoa, okay. Clarification for the 4 of Cups. And clarification for the Chariot. I almost feel like your person like is the type to need to hibernate, like emotionally. I feel like especially if they're going through confusing emotions right now and they don't know how to deal with them, they're the type to run away. So that's why I think that they're the one running away. They're running away to hide in their little rocks, their little lizard home. But then all of a sudden it's like, oh, okay, let me start from the beginning. I feel like something that you've learned through this journey of healing your wounds and self-awareness and realizing how you talk to yourself, you've become very carefree. And it's almost like you've gone a little bit too far in the other direction, and you're in need of balancing things out. And I feel like that's what the lizard gives to you, is this balance. But since they're out of your life right now, not out of your life, but taking distance from you, I feel like you're swinging a little too far in the other direction. I feel like you don't quite know how to balance. And it's like all this learning is so new for you, but you're not necessarily rejecting it. In fact, you're embracing it so much that you're going too far in the opposite direction. Like, you're a little too confident to the point that other people are a little like, excuse me, like, hey, I'm at R2, you're not the hot shot here. That's one example. I don't think there's any such thing as too much confidence, but there is such a thing as like having too big of an ego. And I don't know, that might be the vibe you're giving off. I don't know that that's necessarily what you're doing, but if you're trying to like, instead of being negative about yourself around other people, talking super highly about yourself, that might make other people a little upset. So it's like, you're still in the process of learning the lesson. It's just, you need to start balancing it out, flipping it the other way. I feel like you're definitely a little upset that this person, you're not feeling the connection to them like you did before. They're not coming forward when you'd want them to come forward. And if anything, it feels like they run off on you. And you're definitely a little pissed at them. And you're worried that they're like running off talking to someone else, or I don't know. I feel like you get really in your head. You have a tendency to overthink and then start thinking that your overthinking thoughts are reality. And it's like you've created this reality that, they're going off talking to someone else. They're like, they're not even interested in me. In fact, they're probably interested in something else. And it's like, slow down. It's like a rabbit like running at 1,000,000 miles per hour. I feel like rabbits, especially small animals, have really fast heartbeats versus I feel like a cold-blooded animal might not have a super fast heartbeat. And so that heartbeat kind of speaks to how quickly you pick up an idea and you literally run with it, and there's no time to even catch you. And it's like, damn, she's fabricated this whole other reality in her mind already, and like I haven't even said 2 words. Again, not that you're a she. I'm just getting like feminine energy from the rabbit. But I think the truth is, like, for a lizard, especially slower, cold-blooded animal, it's taking them a lot more time to digest this information. Meanwhile, you're taking everything so fast, it's like your scales were like this, and then you're like, oh, I need to fix them? Let me go like this. And it's like, you're eventually gonna find the middle ground. You're gonna find balance. But right now, you're like running around with your head cut off like a chicken. And the lizard is still taking time to figure everything out. And I feel like you might be the type to reach out and be like, hey, why are you ignoring me? And like, this is the lizard kind of like in their own world trying to process all this information. And meanwhile, you're like breaking their door down, like, hey, didn't you hear? I literally just messaged you. And they're like putting their hands over their ears, and I'm like, I'm so confused. I've never done introspection before. I've never done this before. Can you give me 5 minutes? And I feel like you're really frantic and hectic to find out exactly what's going on with them, that you're getting kind of like pissed off at them. You're like, why are you acting this way? And it feels like things aren't happening quickly enough for you. But I feel like a lesson you need to learn, an additional lesson, is things don't happen at your pace, especially not with somebody that needs things at a lot slower pace. And so I feel like you're obviously very upset at them and you're expecting things to happen a lot faster. In fact, you almost just want to get in this chariot and like get things done. You just want things to be happy with your person. You want to grow with their person. But your person is more slow and steady. And there's obviously a lot of love here with the Lover's card. So I think it's saying you're on the right path. You're doing a great job. You are learning, you're becoming more carefree, and you're becoming a more positive person. You're growing into a beautiful, happy, self-empowered person. But, you know, this person is a part of that journey too, and it doesn't all revolve around your journey. Like, sometimes that's a harsh dose of reality that we need, that everybody is on their own journey. The lizard is on their own journey that, you know, is definitely helped along by you, but it's still their own journey that they need to learn at their own pace. And they're kind of going through things on their own right now. And you rushing them isn't going to make things go any quicker. In fact, it's probably going to lead to even more delays. And so I think the best thing for you right now is just wait, give them the space that they need, and they know that you're going to be there no matter what. You're going to be there when it's done. But I think that you love and care about them a lot, and that's the truth. And I think you're two polar opposites. You like to move a lot faster, and they like to move a lot slower. And sometimes that can feel frustrating between the two of you, and that's especially why you're feeling frustrated that they're not on the same page as you right now. But everything is going to end so positively in the end for you guys. There's a strong feeling of love between the two of you, and I definitely see positivity for this relationship. And it's almost like the two of you truly balance each other out, and you're just in need of finding that balance right now. But that's all I have for you today, Pile 4. Thank you so much for listening. If you got this far, please leave a like or comment, subscribe. I do post like once or twice a week, So that does help me out a ton. If not, just feel free to check out my other videos. I have a ton of other videos on my channel. And if you want a personal reading, I do provide those. There's a link in my description box below. But without further ado, that's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you. And that's all. Bye-bye.